Hello everyone, my name is Gerard Kennedy and this is going to be just a video about our up and coming global personal trainer course. So I am someone who's recently, as I said in the previous video, I've done the gym instructor course and I have also completed my own global personal trainer course. And before I even get into it, I can just say that it's definitely been so beneficial to me. It's taught me so much more, and I think along the terms of the gym instructor course, that helped me get a lot healthier and helped maybe run a few classes. I find with the actual personal training, it's nearly like, to be honest, you're nearly there to change someone's life at that point. You are there, they just need extra help getting kind of results that they haven't been able to get before, and that's up to you nearly to change that for them. You have to take all these different things into account. You have to be at the tip top part of your game with everything you're going to teach them, and you're there to actually change and get them to where they want. So just with this, we're talking about turning your passion into like a professional career. So you can become a confident fitness professional with internationally focused education. So look, it's a brilliant school. It's been around for years. The information, as we said before, is second to none. It's everything you're going to learn here is going to be important, and this is kind of like just that. This is that next step. It's pushing on maybe from maybe being interested in fitness and looking forward toward the future, and using practical coaching skills and then to get that real world experience. So why become a personal trainer? So like just a couple of things that I have, like, people don't hire personal trainers simply to exercise. You're hiring nearly a life coach at that point. You have to be educated in so many different aspects. They are hiring a professional service for people that can help them, and you can become the guide that helps change their lives. So whether that be on the basis of nutrition, where you will have a nutrition degree after this as well, um, you will have obviously the ability to completely correct movement, correct technique. You will be able to change every little detail in their actual program they're working on it right now, and sculpt that into being able to get them to the point that you want them to, and pretty much to get them to benefit from their own results that they're looking for as well. So why become a personal trainer in a nutshell is, to be honest, it's if you want to help people. And that is something I definitely did, because it was something I always used to struggle with, and I wish that I would have had a personal trainer maybe that I could have trusted when I was younger, or um, a belief in someone that I knew they were there for my best interest as well. So I think this is why you would become a personal trainer. So the gym instructor and personal trainer, what's the actual difference? Now, the gym instructor is a brilliant course. It's a small bit more basic. You kind of take what you learn from the gym instructor and you will go into a lot more detail along certain aspects. You'll learn a lot more. So as I said, a gym instructor is kind of someone who wants to keep themselves fit, learn about their own information, while also running a couple of classes, teaching maybe groups. Whereas the personal trainer is a lot more personal, for wanting a better word. You are one on one with this person. They are coming strictly to you for your information, for your education, for your ability, for what you can provide, and you then as a personal trainer have to be able to take all these different parts of their lifestyle, and sculpt, as I keep saying, sculpt it into a method of them achieving the actual results that they're looking for. So personal trainer would be your next step after the gym instructor, and it would be maybe what you've learned, and it would be going into more and more detail just so you can be more educated on the topics that you're going to be asked about. So with this, today's personal trainer and like what the actual role of you now is, as I said, it's essentially like all those things I would consider nearly like a life coach. So you're a lifestyle mentor, you're a problem solver, because that's one thing we know is that as someone who's worked on the other side of it before, where I've been a client of someone's, I know that one of my favorite things is nearly to complain. And the more you complain, next thing your personal trainer has, yeah, well, we can do that. It's like, my back's sore. Grand, we can do this, we can do that. You have to be ready to solve the little annoyances of their day-to-day lives. You have to be a motivator. You really have to encourage them that what they're doing is working, and what they can do is necessary for them to actually achieve their goal. you're an educator, so look, you're really fully educated, you're nearly like a teacher of what you're actually aiming to do here. And then at the end of the day as well, you're a coach. So, it's a lot of different aspects, but you need to be ticking off all these, hence the ticks. So who's this program for? And look, I know it's just a little image there of a load of different professions. You have nurse, construction, businessmen, chefs, fitness people, anyone. It's literally for anyone. There's never a wrong time to kind of change what you're looking to do. And that's kind of like the important part, is that we let people know that it's not just suited for any one type of person. Like, we're not just looking for people who work in a gym. We're looking for people who are looking to make a lifestyle change, and we're looking for people who also want to help other people. So like, it's about making the decision yourself, and it doesn't matter what background you come from. It's going to benefit you, and you are going to be able to help other people. So pretty much, who's it for? If you're any one of those professions or anything else that I didn't list, it's for you. It's for anyone. So the skills that every great trainer needs. Now, look, and these are all very important in different ways. And it's kind of like, when you think about, maybe if you've ever worked with a personal trainer, and you try and think like, maybe was this person good and better at such and such. So you have to be well able to communicate. You need to be a good listener, because you need to understand what they want. You need to be able to try and even listen and read between the lines of what they might want. Someone might want to say, I want to lose weight, but at the same time, that could be, I want to lose weight and get stronger and maybe fix my posture, increase my mobility. It could be all these different things. You have to be able to assess on the spot. You need to be able to see what's going on, and then at the same time, you need to be able to educate them on what is actually going to improve their performance. Same way with your need to adapt. So when you're obviously training, if certain exercises maybe some days hurting them, you need to be able to switch that on the spot. Like, it means not going onto your phone and picking up something else differently, where someone else, like other people, might think that the old AI is their personal trainer. And biggest thing, I think, from the personal aspect, from the actual person in person, is the ability to motivate them and build trust. Building trust is a huge aspect, because no one at the end of the day, when they're first starting off, is too excited about, some people can be embarrassed coming into a gym, embarrassed working with a trainer, because usually trainers are someone who are relatively quite fit. You might be covering different aspects of the spectrum there, so you need to be able to motivate them and make them feel comfortable. That's very important, is that if someone's comfortable, they're happy. If they're happy, they enjoy it. If they enjoy it, it works, So client consultation and assessment, you have to learn, at the end of the day, like, it is professional business. It's a professional job that you're going to be doing. So when you're having these conversations with them, you need to be, as I said, learning what they want and learning exactly what they're looking for. And then this is going to come on, like, along the lines of identifying the goals that they have. So like I said, if someone wants to lose weight, you need to know how they're going to do it. You need to know why they're going to do it. If it's a good reason, if it's necessary, if it's medical needed, or if it's just maybe they want to lose a couple of pounds before beach season. So then you also need to be able to assess movement quality and posture. As I said a while ago, if you want to fix someone's posture, you need to know how to do it. And if you want to increase mobility, as more and more as we're getting older and pushing on, like, people lose the ability for a lot of movement. I've a couple of classes that I teach where people have very poor shoulder mobility, and that's something we've been trying to increase the whole time, working them. So it's kind of learning what they need and what's going to actually help them. And then you need to also recognize limitations. If you're picking an exercise for someone and next thing you know, they're 2 seconds away from passing out, that's your job to understand that maybe that's not where they should be now. We should lower it and maybe build back up to that in a few weeks' time. So with program design, I suppose, as we said, like, AI can throw you out anything, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's good. It might be an accurate program. It doesn't take into account really your height, your weight, previous injuries, anything like that. And I know you can add in all that information, but it's not going to give you that personal element of it. It's so, like, they'll hit you with their own individual goals, their own fitness level and health considerations, and kind of how and where they're wanting to progress to. And then you take all this information with all the education that you're going to have, and you can nearly perfect your own program design for each person, because every person is different. AI isn't going to think that. It's going to say, it's going to give you metrics, and it'll be like, yeah, this and this and this and this, and then you're like, oh well, damn, this isn't in my gym, or I don't know how to do this, can you show me? And next thing you have to go watch a load of videos, and you still won't get it right. Whereas if you have the person in front of you, you can ask as many questions you want and they will have the answer for you. And kind of that's what you're looking to gain from this, is that you were going to be able to proficiently throw out program design for every single type of person, no problem. So coaching and communication skills, you're going to learn how to build a rapport and increase the motivation for people. You want to give effective feedback, improve client confidence, and develop long-term relationships. Like you said, it's all about building trust, because, at the same time, they're coming to you for help. And if they don't feel like that you are interested in it, even if maybe if you're not the best at communicating, if you're not the best talker even, that's something we have to build up, because they don't want someone who's shy and standing in the corner and being like, oh yeah, you're doing that exercise really good. No, they want someone who's like, yeah, that's very good, but we're going to try and fix this, and you're doing this very well, but we need maybe up the weight a small bit and stuff. So it's about giving it that, like, if you're trying to correct something, you're nearly explaining that they are doing something well, but we just need to fix this a small bit, okay? So it's about like learning how to coach again, and even just effective styles of communication. So correcting technique and movement is a very big part, because we know, especially once again as you get older, and even when you're young, doing an exercise maybe in the wrong technique, or maybe if you're putting too much pressure on any certain point of your body, it could be nearly dangerous. So you're looking like to improve their actual technique when they're doing the exercises. You're reducing that any chance of an injury occurring, like especially with some of your compound movements. It can be quite dangerous if they're not in the right technique and they're not doing the movement correctly. You're obviously going to enhance mobility and you're going to increase their performance. So better movement therefore creates better results. So the more loose your body is, the more you do the exercise properly, and the more you focus and relax them while you're doing it, the better you're actually going to do it, and then the more you're going to be able to lift, or the better you're going to be able to move your body. So it's all going to be beneficial. It's all positive. And your job then is to get them to that point. If someone's doing a squat, you have to tell them the certain parts, that are going to be important. Like, one I've always started watching out for now is people's heels coming off the ground, because it was something that used to affect me. So when I would squat down, if it means I'm going too low and I don't have the best mobility to get down there, your heels come off the ground. So it's like they're flat, and next thing they're like this. So it's just watching out for all those proper things and understanding what's actually the difference. So with this now, you also do get another certification. So you are going to be a PFS Fitness Nutrition Advisor. So, you're going to learn how to give people and install those healthy eating habits, weight management, recovery, behavior change. And look, I always go back to that one Snickers ad. I don't know if anyone here else remembers it, but it's, you're not you when you're hungry. So, nutrition is very important. It doesn't matter if you spend the next 4 years in the gym. If your nutrition isn't going to be somewhat good, it's going to be nearly pointless, because you can't outwork a bad diet. And then with this advisory role now, you have more education with it, and you're not leading them up to chance and looking on the internet for the next new hip and great fitness trend with their new diet and stuff. You're going to be able to tell them what's good, what's not good, what can help, what's okay to have every now and again. It just eliminates them needing more and more thought behind it, and that's going to make them happier with you. You're going to be like, well, look, the exercise, we can do that, we look after itself, but I need you to look at nutrition and maybe try these different things, and we can come back to it in another week or 2 weeks' time and see how you're getting on. And if you don't like the diet, we can change it, because once again, I'm educated now because of this course, and I can tell you all these different things about food. So with behavior change and motivation, look, obviously there's going to be ups and downs of every person in every life. Every day of the day is different. There's some days that can come into you and they'll be like, this is great, I'm going to kick this gym workout's ass. And some days it'll come in and be like, there's nowhere else, I'd rather be anywhere else in the world. This is my no interest in doing anything. I'm not even going to pick up that 1 kg weight. So it's about understanding that. And you see, lack of information is really a problem. It's all about consistency with this. Consistency is everything. And once again, you're going to learn to build those healthy habits. You're going to increase accountability for them by being their trainer. You're going to improve adherence, and then you're going to support their lasting lifestyle change. So there's nothing worse than someone trying to say, I want to lose 10 kilos in the next 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Grand. Technically, it's possible. Are you going to put all that weight back on? Yes. You know, and as someone who's done before some of these little shock weight losses, you know, it all comes back. It's just not lasting. And next thing you're wondering, like, oh, why would I bother doing it again? And then your job there now is, if I had a trainer with the information I have now, I'd be like, I know it's not possible. That was silly. Everything's better the slower it takes. Like, you know, nearly that you're not rushing it. You're doing it the right way. So it's about learning how to influence like people's behaviors and how to understand what's going on for them, and still being able to motivate them with that regard. You know, still being able to push them when they need, and understanding sometimes when they're not at the right headspace that they would be normally. So coaching online and face to face. Now, modern personal trainers can work anywhere. You know, you could be, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can be on your laptop at the beach in Marbella, and your client could be in Limerick City in Planet Health Fitness. You know, there's nowhere you can't do it. So it's kind of leveling you up to if you want to do it in face to face, you can. If you want to have a client in Nuremberg in Germany, and you can be in Limerick City again, or Dublin, or anywhere in the world, you know, it doesn't matter. You can do it online anyway. So you can work anywhere. You can work in the gym, in leisure centres, I said in club gyms, you know, for certain sports. Online, you can send them recordings. You can be online live as well. So it's a method of like hybrid coaching. And you can also coach small groups. So, you know, like, it's kind of endless, the actual possibilities that you have, and you can do anything with any of these. So it's a 3-stage learning journey at the moment. So it's kind of like that. Stage 1 is going to be your self-paced online learning. So that's where, like, we leave it up to you to do your own bit of learning. Now, look, it's important, because it's one thing when I first started off that I started trying it, and I realized how much information there actually was to learn. And the quicker you do it, the more you learn. And then when you get to these online live workshops, that you do know what you're talking about. And then whatever information you don't learn, you don't have to learn all at once. And that you get the ability to ask important questions that are actually going to matter. And they'll be the right things to ask, because you know what to ask, because you'll already know a lot of the stuff. And then you get to stage 3, which is your practical training camp. And that's where it really comes into practice, that obviously you can learn as much as you want online by sitting on a computer, but until you do it and practice it in a practical element, it's a whole different ballgame altogether. So it's about learning, it's about practicing, and it's about applying to your actual education that you're wanting to get out of this course. So the practical training camp is brilliant. That's where I really loved it. You know, that's where I really thought that this was for me. Yeah, because this was amazing. It was so much fun. You know, you're coaching real people together, you know, within the course. You know, you are exercise technique you're really focusing on, you're doing assessments of them, and then you're delivering your own programs, and you get professional feedback then from your actual coach and your teachers. So it's like nearly you were given that role straight away of a personal trainer, and you're like, wow, this is cool. And then you're like, oh, okay, I don't know nearly as much as I thought I did, but you do. And it's up there. You just have to find it, and you have to unlock it. So it's really great that you do get that chance to like properly train people, and like this is the start of where you can really start thinking about like how you can change people's lives through this. You know, you can take them anywhere. Like if their goal is the moon, as I say, you can nearly get them as far as the stars, and then you can reorganize from there and see how much further you can get them. So there's also a load of international career opportunities. Like your qualification prepares you to work in all these different occasions, you know, whether it be commercial gyms, boutiques, health clubs. As an online coaching, self-employment, you could set up your own business, you know, and it's building a career with these globally recognized courses are incredible, you know. So it's kind of like, as I said there, the sky's the limit. Like there's nowhere in the world you can't work from. If you wanted to work in the Amazon jungle, once you have a Wi-Fi connection, you should be all right. Just preferably, I'd say don't do that. So the actual combo then that you can do, so there's a complete learning pathway that we do offer through this. So you have your gym and fitness instructor with this one course now comes. So you get your gym and fitness instructor from this course. You will get your fully recognized global personal trainer course, and then you will also get your PFS fitness nutrition advisor course. So if you think about it, like it's one program, one course that you're doing, one course, but you're getting 3 internationally focused and recognized qualifications. You know, you are fully qualified in all these different aspects. It's one complete program that gets you 3 certs. So just think about that, like it's 3 for the price of 1. um, and it's just having those now, like there's something you'll never lose. Like it's there for you forever. Your information never goes away. You can access this all the time. The rest of your life, it's yours now. You bought it, and then that's never going to go away. So it's going to keep updating, and then you're going to keep getting more and more information along the lines of it. So why would you choose us? Now, why did I choose them was that I met with them before through another course, and I realized how well they taught it, how their focus is on you as a person coming to do the course. They're not just dishing out information, you know, they're not, because they could send you on a PowerPoint and then that be enough, you know. No, it's a lot more personal than that. Like you can see that each teacher cares about each individual student and will do anything they can to teach them as much as they can in any style that they want. So they will go through obviously all the practical learning with you. You're very experienced educators. It's a great thing for me was I was working at the time I was doing it, so I had flexible study options as well. I could study whenever I wanted because it was self-paced. Ongoing support as well you're going to get from them. You know, they're preparing professionals, not just graduates, and that's a big thing. You know that they're preparing to send you out into that real world, to let you go, bang, go for it, best of luck. And they're always going to help you with any stage, especially once you're in with Profi. You know, you are looked after, and that's what you want until you can understand maybe more and more, and then go about it yourself. So that's why I chose Profi Fitness. I think it's excellent. So your professional career path, this is just kind of like where we think people can go. So first off, you know, you're interested in fitness, or it's more than likely you wouldn't be coming to these courses. And then you go from that into your gym instructor, then you go personal trainer and nutrition advisor, they're kind of level. And then the next one is your global online coach, and then maybe you're a fitness entrepreneur. You know, your education doesn't stop at one qualification, it becomes a lifetime professional journey. You know, it doesn't just end whenever you're done. You know, you keep learning, you keep expanding, and you learn more and more, and then you can do more and more. You know, there's nowhere really to stop. So that's just kind of the little career path we have maybe driven out for you, but you can go any way you want, and you can go, as I said, into the Amazon and teach classes to anyone you want, so work away. So yeah, your journey starts here is what we're trying to say. Like, so I know my little picture is lovely, so thank you. It's big journeys begin with small steps, and it couldn't be more right. Like, you know, your decision just to change wherever you are right now and be like, I want to do this degree, and if I don't do anything after it, fine, but I want to do this for myself. I want to learn. I want the ability and the choice and chance to help people. So you want to become the person training the clients trust, and as I said, building trust is a huge part, and it's never not going to be. You're going to develop real coaching skills. You're going to build confidence, create opportunities. You know, you want all this information coming back at you, and you want to be able to dish it out to anywhere and anyone that asks for it. So transforming lives is the big part, including your own. Like, you're not just going to change their lives, you're going to change your own. And that is what we really want to get from this, is that you are, as I said, a life coach. So you'd be a global personal trainer, and we want you to turn your passion into a professional career. The journey starts here if you want, you know. And that's what we're trying to dish out, is that we want people to join this and see what you can get from this. So lastly then, I just want to say, everyone, thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. I hope you enjoyed all my few pictures. But at the end of the day, why not? You know, why not try and change your life, and why not try and go about changing someone else's? You know, you could be someone's life coach, and worst case, you can be your own life coach. And as I said, the more and more health you can get, the more and more information you can get about your health is your wealth. So if you don't know how to keep yourself healthy, that's probably the most important part. And the more you know about yourself, the more you can relay that onto others. So hopefully I'll be seeing many of you in the future, and I'll be hearing from you. And please join us today. If you want to find us on our website, it is www.profi-fitness.ie. And look, one little line that I have there is just, let this be the first step in your new life choices. Okay. Thank you very much. Hope you all enjoyed, and hopefully see you all in the future, and let me know if any of you are changing other people's lives. Thanks very much.